live streaming from YouTube. So if you go to YouTube by Human by Any Other Name, you can actually watch us in virtual reality as if you were standing right over there. And this is going to be so powerful because when we're in the orphanages in India and we're in those Syrian refugee camps, you'll be able to join us possibly live, because we're not sure about the internet connections in those areas, but possibly live from where we're going and what we're doing because of this little device right here. So I'm going to put this down because it's live streaming through that device.
Amazing. And I'm going to take a walk around over here and talk to you from over here for a second.
So she is circling around, and if you want to see her, you can go to Human by Any Other Name on YouTube, and you can join and subscribe there, and you can actually watch her go around. So we're going to talk a little bit about India. Now, India is a place that many people want to go, and many people are nervous about going. But I've been, and I was lucky enough to go with voicesforfreedom.org, which is a great organization which helps to free people from bonded labor slavery. Now, I was lucky enough to go to Varanasi, and we're going to Hyderabad, to an orphanage there. So tell us about the orphanage that we're going to, Georgia.
Yeah, so we're going to go work with an orphanage called, well, the organization is serveneedy.org. You can check them out. I learned about them by reading an article online, and I just saw the picture of Gautam, who started the orphanage. He was a computer scientist, gave up everything, and started this organization to serve the needy. And there was something about his pictures and the work he was doing that I was like, I need to know you. So I wrote to him on Facebook. Next thing you know, we're on a cell call. And then I actually said, well, I'm just going to come and meet you and see you, and I want to help your work, and maybe I'll film. And that grew because I was like, what if I tell the story of a homeless man and an orphan?
Yes.
And then my friend, who is a very wonderful and storied actor in Lebanon, suggested, what about a refugee? And so grew this idea of labels and human element of people that are struggling and challenged by this definition, when really they're amazing humans that have so much to share with the world, but we don't listen to them because they're other. And
So
we want to celebrate them.
we totally want to celebrate them and acknowledge them, because oftentimes there's two and in. So what you can do right now to support us is go to Human by Any Other Name on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, and follow our journey to be able to see what we're doing, because the goal is to bring compassionate humaneness and awareness to these people and to show them that they are human. And that sounds so funny to say, but oftentimes those people often far off lands are an it or a statistic. Because when you're talking about 10,000 refugees or 1 million refugees right now that are in Lebanon, 1 million people, 1 million people, that's mind-boggling. You can't understand that. But if we have a conversation and bring you into the conversation as a confidant of George's and just talk with one, that becomes real and that becomes connectable. And that's what we want to do for you guys, is bring you into the experience and tell you a story of these human beings so you can better understand that they have so much to teach us. And they often have a lot, like Malala is a great example, that someone that we perceive might not be doing as well as us, but yet teaches us more than we could possibly imagine, even though we thought that we might know more than them. Yeah. And it's a very humbling experience.
Good example. And I think that what's important for people to know is how we're going to do that. See that camera over there that we were talking about before? It has the ability to live stream. That's the Samsung Gear360. So we're going to be taking two of those. One will be capturing the film that we're creating in 360. Another one will be used to live stream so that we can actually have you guys writing to us and sharing with us and asking questions of us in the moment, assuming you're in the networks in that day, and being there with us live. But then we're also going to be sculpting a story of mine and Ian's journey, essentially, to learn about the humanness of these people.
And the power of VR, and Georgia said something very powerful, and she said that don't use VR just to use VR.
Please.
Use it for a specific tool. And this is one of those tools where it allows you to be present and in the situation emotionally, mentally, and in this case you feel physically there. And this is probably this has been used before in these different ways, but not quite the way that we're going to approach it, which is joining Georgia as a confidant. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that as things progress, but what I want to talk about is give you a few technical tips on India, because if you haven't been there before, a little bit of information might be valuable. So how many of you want to go to India? Hopefully everybody, because it is a place that is an opportunity for growth, and it makes you grow, and it forces you to grow. And one thing you need to know about getting a visa for India is you can get a 30-day visa to India online in 2 days. It costs about $60 to get, and you need a small picture. And you need to render that picture out at 0.5 or under 500 kilobytes. So that can kind of be a problem, and it helps you if you have Lightroom or Photoshop to do that, so you can make the image that small. So you take that, you submit it online, you give them the money. Mine was done within the hour after I submitted it the first time I went. You can also get a 5-year visa, a 10-year visa, if you pay considerably about more. It's about double, and it depends on how often you go back to India. And at this point, if I go back again, which I'm looking I might do with Voices for Freedom in October, back to India, I am going to be needing, I will have gone 3 times to India in 6 months.
You are showing off now.
A little bit. So
You're
that's
like, I'm
something
an India
interesting.
show off.
So
I go all the time. That's how good a person he is.
I do my best. So that's if
He
you want
is
to go to
a
India.
decent human.
I try. So if you want to go to India, you can just go online and be careful and take your time, because oftentimes an issue that I had when I went to India was getting online. As I filled out the forms, and I was like, now you have to go to the San Francisco embassy, the New York embassy, and we live in Los Angeles, and I was like, I'm not going to drive 8 hours to go to the embassy, and then I had to rework it and find the electronic. So make sure you're doing the electronic visa. Now the entry into India with the electronic visa is absolutely amazing. You avoid all the lines. You basically have your own special line you go to, and it took me literally 5 minutes to go through that line, get my visa. They put my electronic visa in my passport, and I was into Delhi. Now once you're into Delhi, that is a completely different ballgame that we'll get into once you get there. We're talking about taxis and trains and the madness and beauty that is Delhi. But we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about George's experience with VR and what we're going to do on the ground.
Do we want to save that for the next one?
We
Because I
can
feel
save
like
that for the next one.
this is a long video.
What is a long video? That's so totally true. Do you guys have any questions for us about what we're doing and where we're going? Right now,
I feel like we needed to talk to this guy a little bit more.
yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of love, the virtual reality. Let's see, what's really cool about this is, please feel free to ask. What's the motivation of the virtual reality experience? What we want to do is we really want to get you guys in to the experience of India and Beirut, because oftentimes people don't know. How do
And
you know
VR
what?
is the end of the mission.
Mhm.
VR creates, what happens is it steps within your comfort zone, and what I call the peripheral comfort zone, where, like, if you watch it on TV, if you watch something in VR in TV, if you watch something on TV, it's over there. It's far enough away that you don't feel like, oh, you know when someone gets in your comfort zone and you're kind of like, okay, dude, step back.
Yeah.
When VR is on your head and it's here, it's inside that peripheral zone for you that you're like, okay, you're in my space. Which, what then happens as a result is it actually imprints on your memory, which is a little, sounds scary, but it's a good thing as long as it's a positive thing. So it imprints in you that you think about it later, and you're reflecting on it later when you're like, why am I thinking about that person still? So you're going to have that visceral experience of something like it almost happened, which is why we want to do this in VR, so that the people watching the content later don't get to go, oh yeah, that's not me, I wasn't there, we're not connected. You'll feel there. So that's the power of VR. Thank you for asking.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you have any more questions, please direct message us. And once again, please follow Human by Any Other Name on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're going to be putting out quite a few of these videos, and every day that we're in India and Beirut, we're going to put these videos out, and then you'll follow our progress when it comes to the technical end of putting together a virtual reality experience and our experience going through it. So right now, we currently have 2 tickets to India leaving on the 27th. We have 2 virtual reality cameras, Gear360s. We have an S8 Plus and an S8, an iPhone 5. We're getting a Mavic drone that we're going to be able to bring. Now, what's really cool about Mavic drones, and we'll get into this later, is they can actually create 360-degree pictures levitating above the Earth. So in other words, we're going to be able to bring you 360 degrees virtual reality above Hyderabad, 360 degrees above Beirut, which is going to be powerful for setting the stage. We're also bringing with us a 5D Mark II and lenses to get cameras, and we'll probably integrate photos as well as virtual reality and try and really get you an in-depth experience with the latest technology that is consumer available. Everything right now that we're shooting on, many people have in their homes, which is a computer, a phone, phone and a Gear 360. You can get a Gear 360 virtual reality camera, and it integrates perfectly with YouTube. I bought one for $100 on Craigslist, and I got the other one for $50 when I got my S8 Plus, which is an amazing camera. Now, we're going to do a little shout out to Samsung, and anybody watching.
If you know somebody at Samsung that would be interested in hearing about this, we're really excited to have Samsung partner with us on this. We feel it would be so valuable because they don't have a lot of use for their camera content out there, and so we really want to get to them and say, join us. Join us on this journey. Come with us. Be part of our team, Samsung, with all of this technology, because we're showing people what you can do with your camera to change people's perception of other people. So if you know anyone or want to write to them, we're fine with that.
Yes, so we're, i.e. Samsung, we're creating a bunch of content with your work, with your stuff in amazing parts of the world. Maybe join with us to inspire other people to use your equipment to make change by creating content that's compassionate, that matters, with